Happy holidays, romance readers. I am Liz Donatelli. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance Channel, the #1 romance novel talk show on YouTube. In celebration of the season, I am chatting with a festive group of authors about their 2024 holiday romance books. Scarlett Scott is the author of The Duke Who Despised Christmas, pub date November 12th. Michelle Vernal is the author of Saving Christmas in the Little Irish Village, pub date October 2nd. Miri White is the author of 8 Nights to Win Her Heart, pub date October 15th. Welcome, authors. Let's start with an icebreaker. Share a holiday tradition that you observe. So I'm going to start with the order in which everyone arrived. So, Michelle, can you share a holiday tradition that you observe?
Christmases are a little bit different in New Zealand because it's hot. So, we're usually outside eating. And tradition-wise, I don't know that we're so big on the traditions, but the one thing that we've always done, we've had to stop doing it now because they're getting a bit big, but we used to take our boys, I've got 2, and we take them to the Valentine's department store and get a lovely photo with Father Christmas. And I've got them right up until they wouldn't let me take them anymore. So they always come out at the start of December and they're lined up on the mantle in pride of place.
So you're though in the middle of like summer in New Zealand, is that correct?
We're marching right into summer. Yeah, we're having a pretty hot one today.
Oh, wow. So hot meaning now we use Fahrenheit. So you use Celsius, right? But you said 30 degrees before when we were talking. So that would be like what? I don't know, 100? I don't know. I don't know what it would be in the US. It would just be hot. All right. Miri, what is a holiday tradition that you observe?
Well, my main holiday is Hanukkah, but for about 25 years, I was with my ex who celebrated Christmas, and he loved decorating, and I like decorating too. So I've kind of incorporated and found a lot of different Hanukkah decorations. I just set up some blue and white lights in this place. So I enjoy doing some of the decorating and everything else, but more than that with Hanukkah, my favorite is just lighting the candles.
How about the cuisine? Because I popularly hear about latkes.
I'm not a foodie, so I love a good latke, but I don't make it often. I did put it in my story, of course.
Yeah. Now, Scarlett, calling in from the home theater, which I had to point out, it'd be really funny if you broke into a movie theater and you're not telling us, and you're like, yeah, it's my home.
Secretly, I did, yeah.
So, Scarlett, what is a holiday tradition that you observe?
One of our favorite holiday traditions is there's a really neat old railroad near us here in Pennsylvania. And at Christmas time, they decorate the railroad and they take you, it's like a half-hour little tour in like an old early 1900s rail car. They have carolers going around and then they switch, the engine moves and goes to the other side and they take you back and it's just like really great fun. So we do that every year.
I love that. That sounds so cozy. Do you drink like hot chocolate during that? Is it?
Yeah, they give you hot cocoa and cookies and then they have people playing instruments with Christmas carols and it's just really fun and festive.
Congratulations. Each of you have scored a meeting with development producer at Reader Seeks Romance Studios, Liz Donatelli, Cavill, Hardy, Page. Because I am now on my 4th husband. My 2nd husband was actor Henry Cavill. 3rd was actor Tom Hardy. My current husband, Regé-Jean Page. You will each pitch your holiday romance books as a movie. Scarlett Scott, first of all, love the alliteration. Don't know if that's your real name or not, but it works. Come on in to the conference room and let me hear your pitch.
The Duke Who Despised Christmas is a Victorian Christmas story, and it's enemies to lovers with a scarred hero and grumpy sunshine and a bit of forbidden romance. It's a romance between a duke and his housekeeper, and it's very festive because it's in the Victorian time, so it's all Christmassy and wonderful, Christmas trees, Christmas garland everywhere, and It is very steamy as well.
Oh, okay. Well, first off, let me tell you, our budget's limited for location. So either we're going to spend the money on the location or the actors. So which do you think we should put the money into? What's more important here, the setting or getting actors on your wish list, which we'll discuss in a sec?
I think the setting is probably the most important. It takes place in northern England on a country manor estate.
Okay.
So I think we have to get that right.
Okay. Well, I think we could probably recreate England. Probably in the US. I'm thinking Ohio because it's cheap. We could probably have some of the locals, as extras putting on some chip chip Cheerio accents. Are there any animals in this? Are they, riding horses?
Off page, there are animals. There might be, you might want to see the Duke riding his horse in one of the scenes.
Yeah. People love to see animals. We'll probably even get like a really shaggy horse too. The fluffier, the better. If not, we have plenty of deer in Ohio, so we can always just throw some deer in it. Why not?
Sure, why not?
Who are going to play the main protagonists?
Well, I don't know, now that you mentioned budget, I don't know if this will work, but I did have in mind Alexander Skarsgård for the Duke. I think he would make a fine Duke.
You know what? Let's save money and ask my husband Ray Gay if he'll do it for scale.
I think we all already know he makes an excellent Duke.
Yes,
That would work.
I thought you might say that. I mean, that's how we met. That's why we're married. But anyway, you mentioned the tropes. You got some grumpy sunshine in there, right? Because the Duke's a hater. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we like the grumpy thing.
It's kind of Beauty and the Beast meets Christmas.
Yeah, I love it. I love what I'm hearing. Steam level. Okay. That could be an issue for Hallmark. So we're talking Netflix. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely Netflix.
Okay. Got it. Netflix. I know people. I've burned a few bridges, but I keep divorcing and marrying big stars, so all is forgiven. So I think I have some ideas of who to bring this to. So screenplay, you're not writing it. So if we say, hey, we want it, Netflix is a go, you're really going to have to just sign it away. But is there one thing that is like non-negotiable? You're like, you cannot change this.
Probably the scene where he sneaks into her room.
Oh, okay. Is this where all the spiciness happens?
It is where some of the spiciness happens, yes.
Okay, so you definitely want to protect the spiciness. Spicy integrity is really important to you. Okay.
The spice must be protected at all costs.
Okay. Wow. That's intense, Scarlett. That's very intense. But you know what? I like that. I appreciate it. You know what you want, and you told me. I'm seeing a lot of people today. So you might hear from me, I don't know, after lunch. You might hear from me in 2026. You never know when I'm going to pop up with news for you. But I thank you for your time. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to you too.
Miri White, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, good. Because sometimes my assistant gives me these notes. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay, Miri. All right, come on into the conference room. 8 nights to win her heart.
That's correct.
Okay. Oh, love the book cover and love that you wore a matching sweater. Right now, you're filling this room with Hanukkah vibes.
That was my goal.
Excellent. Okay. So why don't you tell me what it's about? Thrill me, make me cry, make me laugh, make me want to adapt this to a movie.
Well, 8 Nights to Win Her Heart has been mentioned by others as a Hanukkah Hallmark type movie. It basically involves neighbors Andy and Leo, and they end up spending the first night of Hanukkah together and then the rest of the nights as Leo tries to convince Andy not to move away and to stay with him for potential of a long-term relationship.
You got me at Hanukkah Hallmark. Okay, so right there, you're communicating to me the spice level. Is that correct? It is Hallmarkian in nature.
So the book itself has a little bit of steam, but you could very easily, do a closed door thing. It could be adapted.
Okay, we really want to go to Hallmark with this. Okay, also because Hanukkah Hallmark, I love alliteration. So do you have any actors attached to this project? Who's on your wish list?
So I've been looking into some young Jewish actors, and for Andy, I thought Maud Apatow would be a good actress to put in that role. For Leo, he is hard of hearing, and I would love to have a hard of hearing actor. So maybe we could get somebody new and up and coming and give them a chance at the spotlight.
I love breaking new talent. So we have a little bit of money to spend on the setting. Where would you like to see this set?
Well, the book itself is set in Massachusetts, but I think there's some flexibility there. There's no landmarks in there. We just need some place that can have that feel of, suburban Massachusetts, little busy, but not small town. The one thing we would need is there is a scene with holiday lights. So that would be the focus. We would need a bunch of houses back to back that have Christmas lights, and we would need one that has Hanukkah lights as well. My inspiration was actually the Hanukkah house from Houston. Maybe they'd let us film there and we can just piece it all together.
Normally I suggest Ohio, but maybe I'll send a location scout to Houston. But if not, we're just going to do it in Ohio because, it's cheap. Nobody wants to film here. So it's cheap. Tropes, what can we play up trope-wise?
Well, obviously the Hanukkah hallmark. We've got close proximity, neighbors to lovers. I'm not sure what that phrase is supposed to be. There's found family.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we've got a holiday romance. We've got a diverse romance as well.
Okay. Neighbors to lovers, I'll be honest, I've not heard anyone describe it as such. It's yours. Neighbors to lovers, it's yours. You own it. So we'll definitely play that up. One thing, you're not going to be able to write the screenplay. You also probably will have nothing to do with any of the major decisions, but I can push for one non-negotiable.
I would want to keep my diversity in having a hero that's hard of hearing.
Okay.
And I would want it to be done authentically.
So I like it. And I think you have some reasonable expectations. Just so you know, even though I just came back from lunch, I'm going to head out for a second lunch. So you might not hear from me ever again. Or you might hear from me tomorrow. So I thank you very much for your time. Happy holidays to you. Happy Hanukkah. And, I hope we could do business together.
Great. Thank you so much for your time as well. And Merry Christmas.
Michelle Vernal from New Zealand, a place I wasn't sure even existed until today. So I thank you for flying in. Sorry we couldn't pay for first class. I know you had to sit in coach. And unfortunately, you probably got to get back on the plane in a couple of hours because that was the cheapest flight. I hope it wasn't too much of an inconvenience. Thank you for being here today. Let's see. You are saving Irish people? What is the title of your book?
Saving Christmas in the Little Irish Village, and I am a bit jet lagged. It's an 11-hour flight, so just bear with me.
Tell me what it's about.
It's a holiday rom-com, and it's filled with lots of love, laughter, and the magic of second chances. It's a clean romance with a family orientation, and it's got a good sprinkling of humour in it. It's set in the heart of a festive Irish village where 23-year-old Hannah Kelly fights to protect the cherished hills of her childhood home from a controversial building project. But when the dashing developer Tom Flynn arrives, their fiery clashes turn into romance. With Christmas on the line, Hannah must uncover the truth of the project and her own feelings before it's too late.
Okay, first of all, this screams Hallmark because Hallmark loves big bad developers versus a small town. Okay, so you're in the Hallmark zone. Could sexy scenes be added?
There's always room for sex.
There's always room for sex. I like you, Michelle. We're gonna do a lot together, or nothing. You never know, right? Okay. So you mentioned humor. Does this mean you are hoping to attach to this project, or maybe you already have some kind of comedian, Irish comedian slash actor? Like, what are your thoughts on the cast?
Well, I'm thinking Emma Stone, because I like her sort of, I think she'd play quite a feisty Hannah. So I'd like her for, the main female character, and Paul Mescal, because he wouldn't have to put on an accent.
Paul is hot, hot, hot right now. Now, are we talking ha-ha funny? Are we talking belly laughs? Are we talking charming?
Probably leans towards more charming. It's in the Irish banter.
Okay. So are there any quirky townspeople that maybe one of my relatives could play? Because I'm always being asked, can you get me a role? Can you get me in a movie? So I'd be willing to fly, maybe a cousin of mine or two to play like a quirky townsperson. Does that work? Are they quirky people?
I'm thinking Nessa Doyle, the local hairdresser. She's very quirky. You'd want to be careful if you're booked in for a trim before Christmas.
Oh, okay. I have the perfect cousin for this. Yeah, okay. Actually, I might just have my whole family play the whole town. Well, that's another thing. That brings us to location. Okay. So I know it's not the same thing, but in Ohio, there is a town called Dublin. How about we film it in Dublin, Ohio, in the US?
Well, I think it could be done so long as we have a pub, and we can call that pub the Shamrock Inn.
Ohio pubs, we have lots of pubs here. We could definitely do that. So we've got location, we've got the cast. Okay. Tropes we can play up for marketing. Did you create anything new, like only one bed in a pub, or just very cozy?
There's a scene in there where they're decorating the Christmas tree, and it's very cozy. The biggest Christmas tree, in all of the village, and it's touching the roof of the pub. And they're doing that together, my Hannah and Tom. So yeah, that's a cozy scene.
Okay. I dig it. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to tell Hallmark this is the coziest thing you'll ever watch, is what I'm going to say. Coziest thing you'll ever read and ever adapt to the screen. Okay. Got it. All right. Now, you're not going to write the screenplay. Sorry if that's disappointing to you, but I can include one non-negotiable. What's something that's non-negotiable?
The Shamrock Pub. It's the heart of the story.
You got it. That's very reasonable. Okay. Well, it looks like you probably have to start heading back to the airport, Michelle. But I like what I'm hearing. I have talked to other people today. You might not hear from me until 2027, really backed up with projects. Or you know what? I might call you tomorrow and say, it's a go. It's greenlit. So thank you for taking a chance. Thank you for being you. And happy holidays to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about your approaches to balancing your love stories with holiday themes.
Well, I think it's important to have a good editor. Mine's invaluable when it comes to writing Christmas stories, especially because I think I want to hear off with the characters into what they're doing, but you've got to set the scene as well. So it's a fine line between making sure you're making your reader feel like they're there on the page in the Shamrock Pub, helping decorate that tree, all the smells, the sights, what's going on, to actually just getting to the conversation that's going on between my characters. So yeah, I do rely a lot on my editor, and this is the third one that I've written, which is a Christmas story with this family. So trying to keep it fresh as well.
How deep did you have to dig into your creative well to come up with something you felt was Christmas freshness?
Yeah, I think I had to dig pretty deep because, like I said, this was the third one. And I think my favorite scene would be the decorating of the Christmas tree, because that was sort of, the magic that happens sometimes when you're writing, and all of a sudden you just know that that's what's going to really, really set the scene for the book, for the Christmas, is decorating this tree. So
Right.
yeah, that was my favorite thing.
So, Scarlett, you're going to be last. Okay. Miri, can you talk a little bit about balancing the love with the holiday?
Well, for Eight Nights to Win Her Heart, the entire book took place over Hanukkah. So the holiday really was my timeline. It really was how things move forward. I knew it was going to be a little heavier plot-wise on the last couple of nights because it ends with a family gathering where Leo brings Andy home to her family. So it narrated the whole writing of it. The love story had to progress throughout the nights and still line up with everything. I couldn't take it away and still have a story.
Right, right. I love when there's that built-in oh, what's it called? Ticking clock, you know? So that's great. Is this your first Hanukkah romance?
This is my first Hanukkah one. I
Okay.
have a Passover one out of my different pen name, but this is my first Hanukkah.
Okay. So now do you think that each year you might write a different Hanukkah romance?
I'd like to try. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and it just finally had everything lining up perfectly so that I could write it and get it out.
Okay. So Scarlett, can you talk a little bit about balancing the love with the holidays?
Well, in the Duke Who Despised Christmas, the reason that the housekeeper shows up is actually she's supposed to decorate the house. His mother hires her without him knowing. And so she shows up to decorate the house, and get it ready for Christmas. So Christmas plays a really big part in the story, and a lot of it is you'll see her decorating. She's putting up garland and all the tree and all these things, and he's angry about it. So it was hard to balance. I didn't want to over Christmassy it, but it was also a very important part of the story.
Michelle, you mentioned about your editor, which is, I like that you mentioned that because you need, I'd imagine, sometimes somebody to step in and say, hey, add more romance or add more holiday. Was that the big value then to you, Michelle, of your editor working so closely with you? Was that your editor was like, hey, you gotta maybe pull it back or add more?
Definitely, yeah, because I tend to get diverted by my characters, who can go off on tangents.
So the same with Miri and Scarlett, your editors or maybe trusted beta readers or whoever you might, you work with. Were you getting notes like that, like add more? Although you probably less so, Miri, because it was so built into the plot. But did you get notes like that, like oh, add more, like oh, maybe there should be a few more kisses here, or brush hands more when you're doing decorations or lighting candles.
Not that I remember, but one of the big things was I had started off with my hero being hard of hearing, and then I had said I wasn't sure if it was working, and I removed it. And my editor was like, no, 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 I like that. Put it back, put it back. So
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Good. I'm glad that you did. I'm sure it's a richer story in that way. And Scarlett.
I didn't get any notes like that. I think my editor, we've been working together for a really, really long time, so she just kind of gets me in my style, so she lets me do my thing.
Nice. I love that there's that trust between the two of you. And I love all of your book covers. I'm just curious, how much input did each of you have in the covers? Because I think they're really spot on. So Miri, 8 Nights to Win Her Heart. How much input did you have in the book cover design?
for this one, they had an artist who drew it, and then I got to see the artwork in progress and be able to make any suggestions just to make sure my characters kind of look like themselves. I'm picky about that. I know others aren't, but that's me.
So Scarlett, how much input did you have in the book cover for The Duke Who Despised Christmas?
The inspiration for this story came from a stock image I had seen of this couple, and I took the stock image to my cover artist and said, I wrote the book based on these two, and he needs a glove. Add a glove and make it Christmassy. It's Victorian, so we can go all out on the Christmas. Regencies, you can't really. Christmas was different then. And this is what she came up with. And I was like, perfect, absolutely gorgeous.
Wow, that's interesting that you found that photo and used that to guide you in writing
Yeah.
the lovers. Wow, that's interesting. It's funny the things you think of. I was like, now I wonder if he already had a glove or if the glove was added. So now I have an answer that the glove was added.
She added the glove. Yeah.
Michelle, how much input did you have in designing the cover for Saving Christmas in the Little Irish Village?
I didn't have any input, but when I saw the first the first photograph of what they were thinking of running with, it was pointed out to me that the girl on the front there is wearing a pair of Doc Marten boots, just like Hannah in my story, and I love that. I love that detail. Like the glove, I love those little details.
Oh, I do too. Now you've reached the fun segment. This title needs a story, Holiday Romance Edition, and it is inspired by cold weather puns. I have 5 cold weather puns. You will pick a number. I'll tell you which pun that is, and then you tell me what that holiday romance is about. Miri, pick a number between 1 and 5.
4.
The best things in life are freeze. Miri, tell us what the best things in life are freeze is about.
So I'm going to continue with my Hanukkah themes, and the best things in life are freeze involve 2 friends who find some frozen Lakis, different types. You've got some regular potatoes, sweet potatoes, and everything else. So they go through defrosting them and seeing which ones are the best.
Oh, okay. And then love blooms. Is that
Right. It's going to be a competition. And, sometimes it's the heat that brings people together. Sometimes it's the cold.
Oh, okay. So is there a little bit of light rivals to lovers because of the competition aspect?
You could do that. It could be frozen. Maybe they each have frozen Lakis from their grandmothers and they're seeing which is better, but they each secretly know that their grandma makes the best Lakis.
Oh, I love the family angle too and dragging in the grandmas. Yeah, I like it. I dig it. Scarlett, 1, 2, 3, or 5?
Go with 5.
Love you snow much. What is that about?
I'm going to go with, I love the guardian ward trope, so I'm going to say a lady is being escorted by her guardian. A snowstorm hits them. They have to take shelter. Now they're snowed in. It's forced proximity, and they end up falling in love.
And this is a historical.
It would be historical, yes.
Okay. Victorian?
Yes. Well, no, Regency for this one. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we're shaking things up. And Michelle, 1, 2, or 3?
3.
Snow time like the present. Michelle, what is snow time like the present about?
Well, it's a very loose idea at the moment, but I'm thinking time travel where my lovely female character, for whatever reason, finds herself going back in time to various Christmases, and ultimately will discover that the best Christmas is right there in the here and now because there's no time like the present.
I was thinking time travel too. So I'm glad to see that you seized that opportunity because I do love time travel.
I do too.
Nice. Would you consider writing? You haven't written time travel, have you?
I have. I've got a 4-book series coming out next year with Bookstagram called, well, it's the Dressmakers series. So, and yeah, time travel.
Well, then it was fortuitous that you picked number 3, which lent itself to a time travel theme. All great ideas. All I have to say is if anyone decides to use any of these ideas and turns it into a book, all you need to do is thank me in the acknowledgements and there'll be no legal trouble. Thank you all for being good sports and playing This Title Needs a Story. Thank you, Michelle, Miri, and Scarlett for joining me here on Reader Seeks Romance. It has been a pleasure. I wish you happy writing and happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye. Happy holidays.